Hello everyone, my name is Christian, welcome to my hobby blog. Today we are doing the first review of the Vinegar Syndrome March package. I kind of hated this movie. I knew I would, honestly. I remember reading the back of this box when I was doing the unboxing. And I was like, yeah, this is probably going to be my least favorite because I don't care for the genre. I don't really care about these type of movies. There's only a tiny few good prison movies, and this one's definitely not a good one. I'm talking about, of course, 1986's Reformed Schoolgirls. This is a very middle of the road, by the numbers prison movie. Featuring lots of punk rock girls. I love the soundtrack. It's very hard rock. It's really there are a lot of kind of knockoff, rip-off songs where it sounds very eerily close to like an actual song, and one of them is actually very much sounding like Shop Dressed Man by ZZ Top. That plays a couple times, and they didn't have the rights to it, so they just made their own, and it's fine. But a couple of the songs in the movie are pretty good, but the movie itself is pretty awful. This movie's basically about a woman, or actually a girl, because these are all underage girls, and they all treat them like they're in their 30s. And our main, I guess, hero is Jenny, who is, we don't really have, none of these characters have a character. It's more like they have a aspect of the character that's all they're known for. Like, oh, this person, like, this is the warden here, or the, I guess, manager of the place. I don't fucking know. And then we have Edna, who is our main, I guess, warden control freak, who is probably the most overacting actress ever. And I think the main issue I have with this movie is the fact that it doesn't have a consistent tone at all. It's either, awesome punk rock, like, having fun, or it's miserable sexual abuse. Like half the movie, and then the other half is like, oh wow, we're a punk rock movie. We're like Return of the Living Dead. Oh, we're so great. But what Return of the Living Dead did was not have the most bizarre actors ever. They're all terrible. There's a character named Lisa who you just feel so bad for her the entire movie. She's a mentally disturbed young girl. She's like 15, 16 or so. The actress is probably like 30, but they keep telling her like, oh, she's young, compared to all the other girls, and all this stuff. And she witnessed her brother's death by suffocation because they were stuffed into like a refrigerator box when they were young. And the stepmother usually puts them in like individually, but she was like, oh, fuck you too. I'm gonna put you both in the fridge, basically, and trap them in there, lock the door. And she watched as her brother died of oxygen deprivation. And he had this little stuffed animal, like bear, I think, or elephant, named what is it? Oh my gosh. I had it on the tip of my tongue. Not Joey, but I think it's Benny. Benny was the name of the stuffed animal. And she, her toy or her stuffed animal is taken, like right at the beginning when they're arriving at the prison. And everyone just kind of realizes that she's really disturbed and kind of needs that bear, so they give it back to her. But then the fucking bitch, Edna, who I can't fucking stand, she was an anchor to this movie. This would have been an okay movie. On my Letterboxd, I mostly rate everything 3 stars. Some movies get 4, very few get 5, and only one movie has gotten 1 star, and that is the awful movie Torment, which isn't even a movie. Um, I gave this movie 2 stars because I love the score. It was good. I mean, it was fine. I don't love it, but I think everything with Lisa was just so uncomfortable. This is when they were straying into just trash, just pure trash. I mean, if Severin released this would have been right at home. But I don't know. That fucking bitch Edna, she takes the stuffed animal and she locks it into her desk and she's like, I'm the evil person and I'm gonna literally fuck you and you're gonna do nothing about it. And we have this super sweet therapist lady who we're introduced to, and she's every therapist lady in every prison movie where she's trying to make things better, and everyone in the prison is keeping things, whatever. Like, we know this fucking movie. Just put in, punk rock characters into Shawshank Redemption, for example. And this therapist lady, I wish she would have just smacked everybody in this movie. I don't know why, but this lady, I hear my fingers fucked up. She is not a main character. She's like the main villain. I guess, she was groomed by Edna when she first came to this reform school, and eventually, falls in love with her, and they have this weird relationship, and she is just so bad at this movie. The actress is. I don't know what the direction was. I'm going to blame it on the directors, but this character was not as annoying as Edna, but I hated her just as much. There's a part where they're doing, farming, labor, and this is definitely not a reform school. This is definitely, a fucking prison, but they have them doing labor, and she is, this girl here, she's just standing around in punk rock, bikini outfits the entire movie. And there's, one scene where she has, a shirt like this on. I guess they couldn't have it on the front. But, the entire labor scene is everyone passing out, drinking water, and she's like, "God, I'm so evil, I'm pouring water on the ground. Haha, I'm so evil. Fuck you, everybody." And I was just like, oh my god, I'm so fucking done with this movie. And I looked at the runtime, and there was still an hour left. And I was just so fucking sick of it. But while they're doing this labor, she's being herself, and they find a kitten. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, there's a kitten. Okay, the kitten's gonna fucking die. We know it. We know the director probably has no qualms killing animals and wants to establish that the people are bad, and that's a common trope of movies, is if you want to have a big entrance for your villain, have them kill an animal on screen. That's why House of Cards with Kevin Spacey, who is actually a villain in real life, he kills a dog, in his first scene of the entire show. But they grab the kitten, they give it to the mentally disturbed girl, and she's like, oh my god, I'm gonna name it Joey after my brother, this and the other. And you're like, oh man, she's so disturbed. I feel so bad for her. And then the kitten, survives most of the movie, actually. I was kind of shocked. I thought the kitten was gonna get killed the next scene, because this movie sucks. But they actually kept it alive most of the time. But then, bitch here lets the cat loose in the, the bunker area, which the introduction to it was so cheesy, and I had hopes. I had a very tiny sliver of hope for this movie after that scene, because Edna opens the doors for Jenny, our main character, who is fine. She sees that everybody is jumping around and hard rock is playing and all this stuff, and everyone's basically nude, and everyone's just chaotic and chaos and craziness. Everything's bananas, and I was just like, okay, that's a pretty awesome like intro to it. But that lady there, who I hate, who's the toy of Edna, she lifts the little the storage bin that each prisoner has, because they hide the cat in there every time they have inspections. And so she lifts it up, and the cat jumps out and starts running around like meow, meow, meow. And Edna is like, what? Because she's the most evil bitch ever. And we gotta make sure we all know that. And so she's like trying to stomp on the kitten, and she eventually does. Thankfully, they don't show anything. They didn't show, a like a corpse or anything, thankfully. But they're like, oh my gosh, no animals allowed here. And the therapist is like, what the fuck, you just killed a cat? Like, are you a serial killer? And she's like, you better watch out if you know what's good for you. And then the scene ends, and you're like, oh. And then the disturbed girl goes up a tower and kills herself, because this movie is so funny and amazing, and I hate this movie. I just cannot stand it. They didn't know what they were doing, and definitely seemed like they were trying to make some money. They may have filmed at an actual reform school. I don't know. But it is kind of funny, though. After she kills herself in a horrific suicide scene, everyone goes crazy. People start busting up windows open, and they start a riot. And if you look at any of them individually, like if you just watch the scene as a whole, it's chaotic. But if you look at each person individually, they're just grabbing fluff from the bed and throwing it, like feathers out of like pillows. And half of them are with pillows fighting each other, and they're having a huge pillow fight after a harrowing suicide of a mentally disturbed girl. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? This is a Severin film. Vinegar Syndrome's better than this. And I never thought I would ever say that. This movie sucks. I hated this one. I don't want to give it any more attention than it deserves, which is none. But because I'm reviewing all of these, every release by Vinegar Syndrome, at least in the subscription package, I have to. And this final awesome, this thing right here, this whole image here, is like one of the final shots of the movie. And for some reason, they're making this fucking asshole like the hero. Like, she has the most quick turnaround and morals of all time. They talk about how she's been in there for like a decade or something, like being the worst. And she brands people, and it's like, oh, you're my bitch now, and like all this stuff. And like the last 5 minutes, they're like, oh no, actually she's badass and amazing. We're going to make her the hero instead of Jenny. And Jenny is like, oh, I'm free now. The therapist argued successfully to get me out of here. But no one else. Like everyone else, you got to stay. So yeah, that's Reformed Schoolgirls by Tom D. Simone. I don't know what else he has done, but I'm sure he's a hack. I do not like this movie. Pretty cool box art, but too bad I know these characters. These are all villains. These are not the awesome protagonists that we got to learn. One last thing. I didn't even look at my notes this entire time because I'm so fucking angry about this movie. I hated it. But the intro is pretty awesome. It's about 3 minutes long. So if you want to watch this movie, you can watch that and then just be like, okay, think of Shawshank Redemption, but very nihilistic, and replace all the prisoners with punk rock ladies. Okay, like you've seen the movie. You don't need to watch it. But the first 3 minutes is a shootout robbery where our main character, Jenny, is with a boyfriend, I think. They don't really explain it. They have to, I guess, develop her character. Because she has no character outside of the fact that she was molested by her father when she was young. That's like the first thing she says out of her mouth when she's in the prison. And we get nothing else. We don't get her dreams. We don't get any character building. Nothing. She's been molested. That's what differs her from everyone else. And so she's in the car, she's the getaway, I guess, driver. And her boyfriend comes out and is just shooting all the police officers that are flooding out of this area. And he gets shot in the heart and then gets in the car and they drive away and he's still alive. And then I guess while this is playing, we have the rip-off ZZ Top song playing. I think it's Shop Dress Man. Might be another one of the 40 songs that they copy and pasted. I'm feeling pretty negative right now, so I apologize. But they drive away and they crash and her head goes through the windshield because why not? And you see her face and it's like a frame of broken glass and it freeze frames and then it's like, we formed schoolgirls, whoa! And then they play the main theme song, which is like saying, so young, so bad, so what, is the chorus. And you're like, oh yeah, like I'm ready for this, a punk rock prison movie. Fuck yeah, this is going to be better than Orange is the New Black, which I haven't seen, so I'm not going to try and pretend like I know if it's good or not. But it's going to be like that, but before it. And no, it's awful. It's nihilistic. I hated it. Of course, would I have bought this if I didn't have the subscription? Fuck no. I knew when I saw this when they made the announcements before I even got this package, I was like, oh no. So, woman in prison movie, directed by a man. Okay, this is going to be pretty awful. And I was right. I mean, I was. They talk about a brand new documentary that is super extensive and does all that. I have no interest. I don't want to know anything about this movie. I'll probably wait until it goes out of print and then sell it. So, no, I wouldn't buy it if I didn't have the subscription. That goes without saying. Let me know what you thought of the movie if you've seen it. Hopefully, maybe people will enjoy this more than me. I mean, maybe I have too high of standards. Like, I think I'm done with these, like, super exploitative, nihilistic movies. Like, it's so depressing coming home and watching this. Like, I don't care about these movies anymore. But, thank you all for watching. Hopefully I wasn't too negative. Ugh.